Alright, so week 5 of the NFL season is upon us, and for the Chicago Bears, they will be going to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. In this video, I'm going to give you all 5 keys to the game that the Bears should do to be able to win this game. So, without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, guys? KT here, back at it with another video, back at it with another prediction video. We got some interesting news that came out today. So, if you haven't heard, Justin Fields will now be the starting quarterback for the rest of the year. And for that, and for the Bears, that's actually a very interesting and good thing to happen at this point in the year, where we are now getting ready to go on our toughest stretch of games. I think we got the Raiders, teams like the Raiders, the 49ers, the Packers, a lot of tough teams on our schedule, and for Fields to be the starter in this trying time, that's going to help the Bears a lot. With that being said, I'm going to get into my first point. Is just let Justin Fields play. Last week, Justin Fields had a pretty decent game, but if you just read the stats, then you didn't get the full effect of what he did that game. Justin was throwing the deep ball like nobody's business. It was accurate. It was on the money. He had made good chemistry with Darnell Mooney. I think for the Bears, if Bill Lazor is still calling plays, I think they should work around Justin Fields' strengths. Like I said last week, you're going to have to use him outside the pocket. Don't make him stand back there inside the pocket, because the Raiders do have a pretty good pass rush. Guys like Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue, Carl Nassib, and others on that defensive line. So for him to stand back there in the pocket would be unwise. So do the same thing you did last game. Get Fields out the pocket. Just let him play. Let him play free, and I think you should be able to win this game. Point number 2. Now, as we all know, David Montgomery will not be playing this game. In fact, he will be out 4 to 6 weeks with a high-grade knee sprain, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so point number 2 would be to work around, I would say work around the absence of David Montgomery. Damien Williams will be starting the next game. Not a bad bet. He's very solid, actually. But he's not David Montgomery. But he'll be able to pick up some easy yards, maybe like 5 yards per carry. But ultimately, you're going to have to fall into a more, I wouldn't say pass-happy scheme, but a scheme that's not going to involve you running the ball every 2 plays. I do think they should run the ball more, just to tire that Raiders defense out. But without David Montgomery breaking all those tackles, he's a runner that's going to break tackles, and when defenders get into the backfield, you really need that guy like a David Montgomery to break tackles and break all big runs. That's what he does. Without him, you do not have that, so you're going to have to work behind your solid pass game. Get your pass game going first. Get some quick throws in the middle of the field, maybe like some slants. Then you can take the top off with deep shots, and which I'm going to get to next. The Raiders' defense is alright. They're pretty good, in my opinion. I think it was, they played pretty well against the Chargers, but ultimately they did not get the win. But their defense is pretty good, in my opinion. They have good pass rushers. They have good linebackers. I think the weakest part of that Raiders defense is their secondary, in my opinion, which is the next point I'm going to get to. Point number 3, attack that Raiders secondary. It's not bad. You got guys like Casey Hayward Jr., Jonathan Abram, but it's not like what you're going to be going against in the next week or so. Attack that Raiders secondary with some deep bombs. Call the same plays you called last week. Get Fields out the pocket. Make sure he sees like open reads. What I mean by that is when he got out of the pocket, it was easy. It was one read. Either it was Darnell Mooney or Allen Robinson going on crossing routes. I think that should be a big key in this game. Don't be passive just because you don't have David Montgomery. Take some shots downfield. Let him throw the ball downfield. He can obviously fit the ball into tight spaces. So attacking that Raiders secondary would be perfect for the Bears to be able to win this game. Point number 4, and this is a pretty important point. Put Derek Carr on his butt. Now, obviously, Khalil Mack will have his revenge game against his former team, and I think he might have a big game. He's not gonna have the game he had the last time he played. I'll just say that. You have to get to Derek Carr to affect him. Derek Carr has had a solid year, very good year actually. And part of that is because one, he's tough, but 2, he's very accurate with his deep ball. He's been finding guys like Henry Ruggs, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, all those receiving weapons on the Raiders. So to counteract that, you have to get him on his butt, sack him a couple times, and make him uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure it was Joey Bosa that said once they sacked Derek Carr a couple times, he got uncomfortable in the pocket. That's just about with any quarterback, but I don't think the Raiders' offensive line is. I wouldn't say they're not bad. They're very solid, but they're not like the Browns or the 49ers. They're not like that Browns team or that 49ers team. Keep in mind that the Bears got 4 sacks against that Browns team with a pretty good offensive line. So if they can get 4 or 5 sacks against that Browns offensive line, they can clearly get more than that, or just about the same amount against this Raiders offensive line. I think Robert Quinn should come to play. Give Khalil Mack a little bit of help. If you get Derek Carr out of his comfort zone and don't let him sit back there and pick you apart, then I think they'll be able to win this game. Honorable mention real quick. Game plan for both Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. And maybe even Henry Ruggs at that point. Game plan for all 3 of those guys, especially Darren Waller. Darren Waller is one of the best tight ends in the NFL, a very underrated tight end in the NFL. I don't know why he doesn't get the credit he deserves, but he's a very solid tight end. He can play out on the slot, he can play on the receivers, he can play on the flanks, and he can block. He's a very solid tight end, and he complements his teammates well with guys like Hunter Renfrow and Henry Ruggs. Obviously, Henry Ruggs, very fast. And for the Bears secondary, they're going to have to play very, very well to keep him from getting in the back half of your secondary. That will bring me into my next point. And obviously, Hunter Renfrow, obviously a very good route runner in my opinion. So game planning for those guys as an honorable mention would be very important, because Carr is going to be looking for one of those guys. The X factor in this game for the Raiders would probably be Ruggs. It would probably be Henry Ruggs. I'm pretty sure the Bears will game plan for Waller, but they need to be ready for Ruggs running streaks, because if you watch the Chargers game, he was just getting in the back half of every time. Every single time he was in the back half. Now, Carr obviously missed a couple throws, but they need to game plan for Henry Ruggs and do it well, because point number 5 is the secondary needs to play well. I've said it before. I do not think this secondary is as talented as it once was, but it's not bad. That being said, last week you had a lot of miscommunication on that Bears secondary. A couple times Khalif Raymond was open for the Detroit Lions, just wide open. And against better teams, when you play better teams with faster receivers, you don't want to let them burn you every single time. And Henry Ruggs has that capability of burning you. So, my idea or my focus coming into the game was limit the stuff they can throw over your head. Whether that's giving up the short routes or letting them get the run game going. I don't know if Josh Jacobs will play, but he's a pretty solid running back. Or try to force the Raiders to run the ball on your defense. I really don't have much, I wouldn't say confidence, but the Bears secondary needs to play well, especially against this team, because they will burn you. They'll get behind you, and Carr, more likely than not, is going to hit open receivers. So stopping the secondary needs to play well. I think we need a couple guys to step up. Last week they played pretty well, and the week before they played pretty well, but when they got tired and they got, all out of sync and in miscommunication, that's when problems arise. So secondary needs to play well. Now, my prediction for this game, ultimately with Justin Fields starting and most likely Bill Lazor calling plays, I think the Bears will win this game 24-21. The Raiders' offense is pretty good, but the Bears' defense is also really good, especially with their pass rushers and their linebackers. And it gives good teams problems on offense. We held the Browns to 20 points. We actually held them to 10 before they got tired. Except for that Rams game, the defense has played pretty solid for the Bears. They played the Bengals, who have also been scoring a lot of points this year. They held them to under 20 points. Then you played the Lions last week. They have been scoring a lot of points recently. But ultimately, I think the 24 points on offense comes for me is that if Bill Lazor is calling plays, like I said, he'll game plan for Fields' strengths. And I think this week you're gonna see Fields ramp it up a little bit. I'm gonna make a good prediction. I'm gonna make a hot take. I think he'll throw for at least 2 touchdowns and at least over 200 yards. That's a hot take for me. It might not be a hot take for other people, but it's a hot take for me because I want to see him succeed, and I think with Bill Lazor he will succeed. So, yeah, 24-21 Bears. Maybe it's a little optimistic, but hey, gotta have some optimism, right? But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Make sure you leave comments because I will be reading them. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you hit that notification bell so every time I drop a new video, you'll get notified. Make sure you follow me on social media. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribing helps the channel grow. It helps me make more content, and it lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content I put out. Also, share this video with your friends, your family, your co-workers, your next door neighbors. Share this video with people. It helps the channel grow. And ultimately, yeah, I'm out. Peace.